Yeah, good day, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome. All right, very quickly on our charts before us is BTC USD. Okay, as a trader, you are not practicing luck. We analyzed this particular BTC, which actually went as analyzed. Okay, but we could only catch about 200 pips off the market, which was also a very huge profit. All right, so using fib along with other technical tools for confirmation is one of the strategy, but today we want to talk about counter trend trading. What happens when your valid trend line is being broken? What do you do? How do you perceive the market when this happens? Okay, so just as an experienced trader, when this happened, I quickly realized that the market is reversing against me. Okay, now this was what happened. I was already on profits with my strategy, with the other analysis I did yesterday. I was already on profit. Immediately, I started riding on profits. I then did trade stop. I trade stop, like I brought to break even. But early hours of the day when I woke up, I noticed that there was a high bullish movement that stopped me out, but it wasn't on losses. I was able to just secure little profits from the market. So I brought my stop loss on time, which was this afternoon. So I just waited patiently. So I came back to my chart, reevaluated my chart, and I realized that this 61.8% has been altered. It has been altered. So I then reevaluated my chart. Normally, where this strategy is still valid is when we continue having, since it was for sale initially, when we continue having a higher low and lower low. So that is to say that this particular bearish candle should have just bounced, making a third touch here on our trend line, retest below it, and keep coming down without breaking above it. You understand? So whenever our valid trend line is broken, take cognizance of what is happening in the market. Observe the market very carefully. So today, very quickly, we'll be talking about the break of a trend line. That particular strategy or technique is called a counter trend trading. All right, and we will now support it with other things. Okay, so now we had a significant trend line here with 3 touches. Here we have 1 touch, here we have 2 touches, here we have 3 touches, and kind of double top, little double top here that now moved. And on the previous trade, we were able to secure about 228 pips downward. All right, but at break even, we just made about 100 pips. So that was also a huge profit for the day. But when this could not continue falling, BTC could not continue falling, I reevaluated and realized that it has broke my valid trend line. So I came up with my other second strategy to follow up. So you have to be very smart. These are part of the skills. When you become experienced in the market, it helps you to become what? To be very smart. Okay, so one of the things that helped me show that I had other confidence is that, okay, this market has actually reversed. Okay, now when you take your trend line, you see from here we have an arrow of selling. Okay, now but if you realize by chart pattern, which W or double bottom as it's called is one of the chart pattern that help us to identify reversal and continuation, you could see that this market has actually reversed. This is our W. This particular move from here to here that broke our valid trend line and retested above the trend line. So you could see that this retest now triggered more traders to start buying BTC. In as much as the retest was still above the broken trend line, then it is a valid time for you to open your entering position and start buying. This is how to counter trend trading. This alone, now you have seen a double bottom, you have your first touch here. Let me quickly do this. You have your first leg of the W here. Okay, now you move this thing, it's moved here and came down. This is the second leg of the W, giving you what? A double bottom, giving you what? A double bottom. So you have seen that this part now give us what? A double bottom. Secondly, now our valid trend line was broken and retested above. As a smart trader, what you should do is just open your buy positions, buy entrance, and make your stop loss to be below the opening candle of the bullish, stop loss of about 50 pips to 70 pips thereabout. All right, so let me also cite an example of a trend line on the bearish part. Let's now say, okay, this was countered because this was actually buying from here. This is how you can spot a broken trend line, and once it happens this way, just notice, be smart to realize that this trade has gone against your entry. One thing it will help you do is to either close, don't be greedy, close on little profits, or if you had already trade, stop your entry to break even. Once it hits you, reevaluate. Opportunities will always come in the market. The most important thing is to understand what you're doing in the market. Understand it. It's a process, and you practice before you start making profits. It's a process. You take the process, you practice, you become patient, and wait for that high probability setup to show up before you enter the trade. When you do this, man, you always make the market. So like you have seen, this is our trend line. We have one touch here. Okay, let me quickly take my like you see now, these are our first, making it significant. Here one, and here's another one. So whenever we have two touches of the trend line, it's valid. It's valid. So here we had on the wicks, not the body. You can see very clearly this trend line were perfectly drawn on the wicks, not the body. If you draw it like this, it's wrong. Always drop your trend line on the wick. Trend line is a simple tool you should learn how to make use of your trend line. This was actually a support to the buy. Here was also a support to the buy, but it was broken and retested below the trend line. So this retest, now what now showed us that this market also was going to sell. There is a confirmation with a bearish engulfing candle that engulfed the last bullish candle. So this is a bearish engulfed candle. This bearish engulfed candle was another confluence in the market, a break and retest with a bearish candle. We also had seen this is also, so when you should take cognizance of this move, this is our M. It wasn't a perfect double top, but it gave us the M shape, and this is what we're looking, because the market will not always give you the perfect touches of M or W. No, that shouldn't be what you'll be looking at for. So this is also another confirmation telling us that this market has broken the trend line, and eventually it is going to move down. It is going to go bearish. And this was how it played out. So the counter trend trading is another perfect perfect strategy. It's another perfect strategy. I want to believe that this video was helpful, and it can now help you to redefine your entering. All you need is to practice, be patient, and you will make profit. Always wait for that high probability sector, and whenever it comes, be quick to identify it and strike. One good setup can give you a huge profit for the whole of the week. I believe this video was helpful. Don't fail to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and give us your comments.